So we'll continue with operations on matrices now. So we were doing some operations on matrices yesterday. So we just added yesterday, right? We just tried adding two matrices, and that was very simple. Now we move on to another aspect of it. Now we move to multiplication, right? So how we multiply matrices. So the first one would be multiplication of so the first topic would be multiplication of scalar. So how can we multiply a scalar quantity? A scalar quantity is basically a number. How can we multiply a scalar quantity or a number to a matrix? So for example, if you look at this question number, it's there in your exercise chapter 9, exercise 9b, question number 1, subheading 2. So we have a matrix question like this: 7 multiplied by -1, 2, 0, 1. So what is the process of multiplication of these types of matrices? So what you do is, for this kind of multiplication, you just take this number inside and multiply it with every element inside the matrix. Like for example, we have 7 into -1, right? So we get 7 into -1 as -7, 7 into 2 as 14, 7 into 0 as 0, 7 into 1 as 7. So this is how you multiply a scalar or simply a number to a matrix. So if something like this is there in the question, then 7 is multiplied with a matrix which is -1, 2, 0 and 1. You just multiply this number inside with every element of the matrix. So you multiply 7 with -1, 7 with 2, 7 with 0 and 7 with 1. So this will be the final answer. Now second one, let's try this one. So we have something like 2 is multiplied with the matrix -1, 0, 2, -3, and this is added with 3, 3, 5, 0. So what you do now? So what we do now is we multiply 2 inside. So if we multiply 2 inside, 2 into -1 is -2, 2 into 2 is 4, 2 into 0 is 0, 3 -3 into 2 is -6, and that thing is being added with 3, 3, 5, 0. So now we can directly add this, because since this matrix is a 2 by 2 matrix, 2 row 2 column, we are adding this another 2 by 2 matrix. We can directly add it, no problem. So -2 plus 3 is 1, 0 plus 3 is 3, 4 plus 5 is 9, -6 plus 0 is -6. So this will be your final answer for that question. So it's very simple. If you're told to multiply a matrix with a scalar or simply a number, then what you do is just multiply that number inside. So just multiply that value of the number to all the elements of the matrix, right? And that will give you the answer. It's very simple. So let's try this one as well, number 4, this one as well. So the question is 6 times 3 and -2 is subtracted with 2 times -8 and 1. So multiply the 6 inside. So 6 3s are 18, 6 into -2 is -12, minus, multiply the 2 inside. So just the 2, I'm just taking the 2, I'm not taking the minus. So 2 into -8 is -16, 2 into 1 is 2. Now what you do, you can subtract these two directly. So 18 minus of -16. So this is basically 18 of minus of -16, and -12 minus 2. So the answer will be 18 minus of -16 is 18 plus 16, 18 plus 16, and this is -12 minus 2. So this gives your answer as 18 plus 16 is 34, and -12 minus 12 is -24. So this is your answer.
$34 उत्यो पता 34 minus 10 तल चाहिँ नि -14 हो पता
-14. Sorry. My bad. minus 14. 1 second la. So is there any doubt regarding this topic? If you have any doubt regarding this multiplication, let me know right now. Okay, so we'll move on now. Okay, so this is done. So I don't think there's any doubt regarding this multiplication, right? So when you have a scalar, so just remember, so I'll give you a generalized formula for this, okay? So if you feel that that would be better for you, just try to remember that formula. So if any number k, right, if any number k is multiplied with a matrix, let's say a, b, c and d, so you can easily write this as ka, kc, kb, kd. So this is the summary of what I taught you just now. So if a number k, where k is a number, any number, positive or negative number, when it is multiplied with a matrix, then your conclusion, your multiplication should yield something like this. So this is the thing that I taught you right now. So is this clear? If this is clear, I'll move on to another topic where we'll discuss about multiplying two matrices. So I have a question for you guys. I'll give you 2 minutes to solve this. Try to solve it and let me know. So this is the question. If a matrix 1, 4, minus 2, 3 plus 2m is equal to 3 multiplied by 3, 2, 0 and minus 3, find the matrix M. So after 2 minutes, I'll start explaining. If you don't want to hear the explanation, you can mute me. Okay? So we are given 1, 4, minus 2 and 3 as the first matrix. We are multiplying this with another matrix. We don't know the matrix. So it is 2 into m equal to 3 times 3, 2, 0, minus 3. Now, in the previous class, I had already told you that two matrices can be added or subtracted only if they have the same order, right? If the number of rows in first matrix and number of rows in second matrix and the number of columns in first matrix and the number of columns in second matrix is the same. So now this is a matrix of order 2 rows, 2 columns. So it is a 2 by 2 matrix. So M should also be a 2 by 2 matrix. So let us assume a matrix M. So 1, 4, minus 2, 3 plus 2 times A, B, C, D. So there is a 2 by 2 matrix. We have this on the other side. So we know when we multiply a number, a scalar with a matrix, we can multiply individual elements. 3 to the 6, 0, minus 9. Right? So this is the first step. Now take this to the other side. So you get 2 times A, B, C, D equal to 9, 6, 0, minus 9, and you're bringing this to the other side. So minus 1, 4, minus 2, 3. So forget about this side. Let's solve the right hand side. So 9 minus 1 is 8. 6 minus 4 is 2. 0, 0 minus of minus 2 is 0 plus 2, that is 2. Minus 9 minus 3 is minus 12. So the matrix that you get, I'll solve it here now. So matrix that you're getting here, on the left hand side you're getting 2 times A, B, C, D. This is basically matrix X equal to 8, 2, 2, minus 12. Now what you do is, now take this 2 to the other side. So when you take the 2 to the other side, you get A, B, C, D. This is matrix X equal to 1 by 2 times 8, 2, 2, minus 12. So now use the same theory. So when something is multiplied with a matrix, you just multiply every element with it. So this is basically ABCD is nothing but X, right? We assumed ABCD as X. So X equal to, so half of 8 is 4, half of 2 is 1, half of 2 is again 1, half of minus 12 is minus 6. So your matrix X is 4, 1, 1, minus 6. So any doubts with this question? Yes. Okay. कहाँ देखिन? यहाँ देखिन? त्यही त यहाँ देखिन हैन? Okay. So I'm erasing everything else, okay? Okay, so now what we know is, the thing that we know is, we got 2 times A, B, C, D is equal to 8, 2, 2, minus 12. Now we know this matrix is M, right? So we are told to find M. So we can take this 2 to the other side. We don't need this 2. This is not required because we only need the matrix M. So question is, find the matrix M. Matrix M is this one, so we don't need this 2. We take this 2 to the other side. So what do we do when we take a number to the other side and it's multiplied? So something, if we have something like 2 into A equal to B, so if we take 2 to the other side, A will be equal to B by 2, right? So we just divide this number there. So same thing. So we are taking the number and dividing, making it in the denominator 8, 2, 2, minus 12. So this is basically matrix M. M equal to, so multiply individually. Half of 8 is 4, half of 2 is 1, half of 2 is 1, half of minus 12 is minus 6. So the matrix M is 4, 1, 1, minus 6. Abuja? Okay. So anyone else has any doubt regarding this question? So this is it, okay? This is very simple topic in this chapter, multiplication of scalar. So you just need to be careful about what number is multiplying inside. So sometimes you may make a mistake. So when you bring this 2 to the other side, you might just place it as 2 there. So that'll be a big mistake. So when a 2 is brought to the other side, so it becomes 1 by 2. The 2 will go to the denominator. So that should be very important. And this 1 by 2 will multiply. So 1 by 2 into 8 is 4. So that's the reason I wrote 4 here. 1 by 2 into 2. 2 ones are 2. So that's why I wrote 1 here. Same thing for this 2. And 1 by 2 into minus 12. 2 6 are 12, minus 6. That's why I wrote a minus 6 here. Okay, so you should be careful about which number is multiplying, whether the inverse of the number is multiplying or the number itself is multiplying. Okay, so this is very important and very simple as well. So I don't think you have any doubts regarding this part, right? Now comes the tough part of this chapter. So the tough part of this chapter is multiplying two matrices. So there is a criteria for this as well. So we had a criteria for addition and subtraction, right? So they should have the same order. So first matrix of M is M by N should can be added or subtracted to another matrix which has the same order. Now for multiplication, that is different. So multiplication criteria is, so if the first matrix has order M1 by N1 and second matrix has order M2 by N2, then for these two matrices to be possible to be multiplied, these two numbers should be equal. So the number of columns in the first matrix, so this is number of columns in the first matrix, should be equal to number of rows of second matrix. So this is the condition for multiplication of matrices. So multiplication of two matrices is only possible if the number of columns in the first matrix is equal to number of rows of the second matrix. So number of columns of the first matrix should be equal to number of row of second matrix. So let's try to find whether these multiplications are possible or not. So in the first case, we have 3 and 2 as the matrix. This is multiplied by 2 and 0. So this has one row and it has two columns. So this is a 1 by 2 matrix, and you are multiplying this with a 2 row 1 column matrix. So multiplication possible hunako लागि these two numbers should be equal. So yes, multiplication is possible in this case, right? So let's try with the fourth one. So for the fourth one, we have 6, 4, 3, minus 1 is multiplied with minus 1 and 3. So this is a matrix which has two rows and two columns. So this is a 2 by 2 matrix. And this is a matrix which has one row and two columns. So now these two numbers are completely different. So these are not equal, right? So this multiplication is not possible. So you cannot multiply this. Okay, so let's try this with the third one. So third one gives 6, 4, 3, minus 1, and you have minus 1, 3. So now this is a matrix which has two rows and two columns, and this is a matrix that has two rows and one column. So now for the multiplication to be possible, these has to be same. So since they are same, multiplication of this matrix is possible. Let's go for the second one now. So for the second one, we have 1 minus 2 multiplied by minus 2 minus 1 multiplied by minus 2 minus 1, and then we have 3 and 4. So now this is a matrix which has one row and two columns. This is a matrix which has two rows and two columns. So now to check whether multiplication is possible or not, we check these values. So since these values are equal, multiplication is possible in this matrix as well. So the only case where multiplication is not possible is the number 4 one, because it's a 2 by 2 matrix and you're trying to multiply it with a 1 by 2 matrix. So number of columns and number of rows of the first and second matrix do not match. So that's the reason why multiplication is not possible. So is the criteria clear? Criteria for multiplication of matrix?
Clear.
Any doubt, you can let me know. So I'll just start with one simple example of multiplication. I'll not go in that depth today. Okay, so I'll just give you one small example of multiplication, how the multiplication is done, right? So we'll complete it maybe tomorrow. That will basically be the end of the chapter. So let's try the first multiplication. So we have a matrix which is 3 and 2, that is multiplied with another matrix that is 2 and 0. So what you need to do is, there is a approach called row and column approach. So for the first matrix, you consider the row, and for the second matrix, you consider the column. So what you do is basically 3, 2, dot product, multiply this with 2, 0. So your answer will be 3 multiplied by 2 and plus 3 multiplied by 2 plus 2 multiplied by 0. So your answer will be this much. I'll not go in detail. So this is the process how to do it. 6 plus 2 is 8. So you get something like this. So wait, I'll give you a better example, okay? I'll give you a little bigger question. I'll try to get a question. 1 second. So let's say I have a matrix something like this. So I have a matrix 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, and I'm multiplying this with 5 6 7 8, 5 6 7 8. Very simple question. So let's check whether multiplication is possible or not in the first case. So this is a 2 row 2 column matrix, and this is also a 2 row 2 column matrix. So since the number of columns and number of rows of first and second matrix match, so multiplication is possible. So now there is, I had told you already, row by column approach. So row and column approach. So we have to take this approach. So how do we take this approach? So first what we do is we take the first element of first row and multiply this with the first element of first column of the second matrix. So what you do is 1 into 5, put a plus sign, then we consider the second element of the first row and second element of first column, plus 2 into 7. So this is the first place answer. You have to add this and find the value. Now for the second place, we consider this is the first row only, right? So this is the first row only. So now we consider the same row again. So 1 into 6, 1 into 6, and 2 into 8, plus 2 into 8. So this is what you get in the first row. Now when we consider the second row, we take the second row here and the columns. So what you do is 3 into 5, the first element of second row multiplied by the first element of first column. So 3 into 5 plus 4 into 6, 7, sorry, 4 into 7, this is 7. Now we go to the second column. So we heard what we do, 3 into 6 plus 4 into 8. So this is how multiplication is done. Now what you do is you add 5 plus 14, 15 plus 28, 6 plus 16, 18 plus 12. So the answer should be 19, 43, 22, 30. So is there doubt with this? I think there is some doubt, right? I don't think it's that clear. Yes, sir.
सबै के
बुझिन
त्यही त कन्फ्युज भयो के हो जस्तो भयो
41. Wait, let me check the answer again. 41, 50. Okay, 50. 6 3 is 18 plus 8 for the 32. Okay, 8 for the 32 on the. Okay, so I'll do it again. So I also did a calculation mistake here. Okay, so the matrix is 1 2 3 4 multiplied by 5 6 7 8. So this is a row by column approach. You have to take the rows from the first matrix and columns from the second matrix. So take the rows from the first matrix and columns from the second matrix. So now we take the first row and first column. So when we take the first row and first column, we multiply the first element of first row with the first element of first column. So we get 1 into 5 plus, now we go to the second element of first row and second element of first column, 2 into 7. So this is done now. This is done for the first column. Now we change the column in the second matrix. We keep the row same. So we don't change the row as soon as we do this one. So we keep the row same. We change the column in the second matrix. So what we do is we multiply 1 with this. So we get 1 into 6 plus 2 into 8. So this is done. Now after doing both the columns with one row, change the row. So when you change the row, it becomes 3 and 4. So now 3 multiplied by 5 plus 4 multiplied by 7. Now you did with one column. Now change the column. Keep the row constant. So 6 into 3 plus 8 into 4. So this is your answer. So now you need to add and put the values. 5 plus 14, 6 plus 16, 15 plus 28, 18 plus 32. So this should be your answer. Now is it clear?
मैले बुझ्नु त बुझेँ कि तर यस्तो खालको क्याल्कुलेसन चाहिँ कहाँ युज हुन्छ अगर लाइफमा युज गर्नु पर्यो भने चाहिँ
ओके यस्तो चाहिँ केमा हुन्छ भन्छ नि सो दिस इज अ कम्प्लेक्स फर्म अफ मल्टिप्लिकेसन प्रोसेस यो चाहिँ अब इन्जिनियरिङ फिल्ड जानु पऱ्यो भने इफ यु वान्ट टु एक्सप्लोर मोर इन द इन्जिनियरिङ फिल्ड एन्ड इफ यु आर मोर इन्टु क्यालकुलेटिभ इन्जिनियरिङ हुन्छ नि जस्तै सम काइन्ड फिल्ड्स लाइक मेकानिकल इन्जिनियरिङ एरोस्पेस इन्जिनियरिङ जहाँ चाहिँ अब कम्प्लेक्स सेप्सहरूको कुरा गर्नुपर्छ कम्प्लेक्स डेटा स्टोरेजको कुरा गर्नु यु कान्ट जस्ट रिलाइ अन समथिङ लाइक x equal to 4 okay so this is very arbitrary and very basic thing right so there is a variable x whose value is 4 that is it we don't have anything else so this becomes inadequate in some cases inadequate right it fails to answer many questions that arise many complex questions that arises on calculation because when calculation starts the things get more complex right it is very simple to start a calculation it is very simple to start a multiplication process you just start multiplying 6 into 3 as 18 right but when you start a mathematical process it goes on becoming more and more complicated right when you study about the motion of stars right so we can't consider the motion of stars and planets and all those things to be a straight line so we have to consider a new shape right this is there in your 11th and 12th so it is called conic sections which means part of a cone so this is called a parabola okay and the orbits in which the planets revolve around the sun okay we consider it to be circular orbit right but no they are not circular they are a different shape called ellipse ellipse now what happens is as we go on increasing the calculation process as we go on calculating things further and further the calculation goes on becoming more and more tough it becomes tough as we move on right so when that happens the already known concepts become inadequate to answer some questions right like a simple square can be very simple in the first case right we can find the area of a square as length into breadth so length of a square is equal to breadth so a into a equal to a square now this square may not be able to answer some advanced question in mathematics so what we do is we try to find some aberrations from some changes in squares so that's why we come to a new shape called rectangle right now in a rectangle we have a length and a breadth so length is not equal to breadth so now this can give you a more detailed idea about a question right it can give you more aspect about a question it can give you more space to move about a question you can think about it more right square one you'll come to a conclusion that the sides are equal everything is equal so that is it you're confined now for a rectangle now you can have any different length you can have two different length can be very long breadth can be very short right so mathematical questions calculations you'll start increasing the complexity of the mathematical questions so now there it becomes inadequate the already known concepts become very inadequate to solve those kind of questions so then we try to develop some new system of things so this matrices is basically a method of data storage so x is equal to 1 2 3 4 now x can be any value x can be 1 x can be 2 in some case x can be 3 in some case x can be 4 so which one is better just naming x equal to 4 or x equal to 1 2 3 4 which one is better so obviously the second one is better right because it has more openness to it it has more possibilities to it right we can add more possibilities to the value of x we are not confined to one single value of x right so if you're interested in field of mathematics or science so knowing this kind of things is very very basic because mathematics as you go on studying mathematics it becomes tougher and tougher right it doesn't become easy it becomes easy because like the things you study like matrix ko bare mein after 2 days if I ask you about matrices you'll be perfectly thorough with matrices right but this matrices is like 1700s ko kura it was discovered in 1700s there are people who have mastered this who can solve even the biggest of matrix problem without using a pen and paper they can solve it in your head right we are just in the basic state of learning all those things so mathematics and science becomes more difficult generally mathematics it grows over time right and it doesn't mean it's very difficult and you can't study at all it doesn't mean that so it basically means you have to be strong with your basic concepts so when you're strong with basics you can go on further so why we study this is basically to improve our possibilities of coming into a conclusion So if you are mathematics, if you are improving, you are trying to do more, you are trying to solve more of mathematics, then this kind of matrices may be important later on, right? So we can't confine ourselves to very like straightforward values like this. So we have to give some space to our brain and our calculations, right? We have to give some more freedom to our calculation. So that's why we come to this kind of things, right? Which may seem totally useless right now. Okay, it might seem totally useless. यस्तो कहाँ लाग्छ त यो practical life मा हुँदैन, but it has a lot of application. So is this clear, this multiplication part, how to multiply this? Yes, yes, बहिनी भन.
त्यो हामीले प्लस किन लगाएको माइनस हुन सक्दैन त्यो?
कुन चाहिँ?
अब 1 into 5 plus 2.
Yes, this is always plus. This is always plus. This is always plus. This is all your बीच को sign चाहिँ always plus. कहिले हुँदैन minus. This middle sign is always positive. Like what can happen is like I can have minus 4 here. Okay, in place of 1 2 3 4 I have 1 2 3 and minus 4. So यहाँ के हुन्छ भने चाहिँ what you'll do here is, so in place of this 4 you place bracket मा minus 4. Okay, this positive will remain positive only. So now 7 4s are 28, right? So plus into minus is minus. Now this plus will be minus 28. Okay, formula ma say this is always plus. Okay, this will always be plus. In the formula this will always be plus. The numbers can be negative. That is not an issue. The numbers can be negative as well as positive, also 0. So if the numbers are negative, like say if I give you an example like this, I'll solve that. Okay, if I have minus 4 and let's say minus 6 here, so I have minus 4 and minus 6 in this place. So what will we get? We get 1 into 5 plus 2 into 7. Then we have 1 into minus 6 plus 2 into 8. Then we have 3 into 5 plus minus 4 into 7. Then we have 3 into minus 6 plus minus 4 into 8. So now the plus sign remains plus sign only, right? But the numbers can have negative. So this will be 5 plus 14. This will be minus 6 plus 16. This will be 15 plus into minus, minus 28. 6 3 is 18, minus 18, minus plus into minus, minus 32. So it will be like this. Okay. So any doubts regarding this? You have to practice a lot. Even I face difficulties doing this. Okay, कति वर्ष भयो पढेको मैले, still I find like sometimes like literally very tough to multiply matrices. It happens, okay, but you have to practice. It should strike in your head when you are trying to solve it. Okay, it's not necessary you know it every time, but when you are solving a matrix question, it should come in your head. Row and column. So matrix 1 go row, matrix 2 go column. So first row with first column, then keep the row constant, go to the other column. So first row with second column, then change the row. Second row with first column, keep the row constant, second row with second column. That's it. Okay. So if you have any doubts, let me know. If you don't have any doubts, this is the end of the class.